Thank you very much, Kat. Before we begin, I'd like to point out a number of very helpful resources around this topic of integrating related services. The first two resources are written by Julie Costin and Chelsea Tracy Bronson. The first is called the Occupational Therapist Handbook for Inclusive School Practices, and the second is called the Speech Language Pathologist Handbook for Inclusive School Practices. And those publications can be obtained either from Amazon or from the publisher, and I've provided the link to Brooks Publishing. I'd also recommend that whether you are a speech language pathologist, PT, or an OT, if you check on your professional organization's website, you are likely to find resources related to inclusive education. And I will be referring to a couple of those specific resources a bit later in the webinar. And then finally, if you're interested in the underlying research that supports the benefits of integrating related services, there are a couple of my colleagues that are known for their research in this area. And they include Michael Giangreco, Jennifer York, and Beverly Rainsforth. So here's what I'm hoping that we will accomplish today. The first is to learn about the original intent of this term called related services in the special education law, to understand the roles of speech paths, OTs, and PTs in facilitating inclusive education, to describe a number of examples and let you view pictures of situations in which integrating related services is supportive to students' learning and inclusion, to share some examples of inclusive, integrated, related service IEP goals, and to share a resource with you that teams can use during the instructional planning process for determining what the role of related services might be within particular typical lessons and activities within the inclusive classroom or other inclusive school environments. So within the federal special education law, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, related services are defined broadly as supportive services as required by a student with a disability to benefit from special education. And under IDEA, there are, certainly over a dozen different kinds of services that are under this umbrella of related services. And today we're going to be focusing on occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech language pathology. And I'd like to just issue a brief caveat, and that is that I'm sure those of you in practice understand that the roles of speech paths, and particularly OTs and PTs, may have significant overlap. And how individual providers' responsibilities and roles are defined may be dictated by state law, state accreditation standards, and by what's sort of known as common practice in particular areas of the country. And I'll be showing you an example of that overlap as we proceed through the webinar. So I'm also going to be using a number of different terms that all reflect this idea of integrated and inclusive services. And those terms are integrated, inclusive, embedded, push-in services, and services delivered in natural environments.